welcome to Witchy Shit and Manga Lit. Almost forgot our name again. We're here with Cartabus and Maria. This is such a shitty intro. I'm just gonna
It's
start
fine.
over again. I'm not even gonna. It's gonna be on the thing. Hi, welcome to Witchy Shit and Manga Lit with Cartabus and Maria. We are back with you this week and super excited to reconnect. And what are we talking about today, Carta?
So today we are going to talk about shoujo as a genre and why we need more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to dig into the Discordianism that we didn't last time, and there's some pertinent
Okay.
reasons why. So yay.
Oh, all right. Let's get into it. What have you been doing this week?
Um okay, so a lot. First, I've been watching more of the Welcome to Demon School Iramakun. It's super cute. Like I started season 2, so I'm excited about that. We've also been watching That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which like sounds
Mm-hmm.
like weird, but it's actually super cute and like I'm like hella invested in these characters. Like super duper invested in these characters. There's only 2 seasons, but there's an OAV and a movie as well. So there's plenty of content. There's about 50 episodes total, and we are most of the way through, and we started last Saturday. So
Nice.
it has been like binge time with
Mm-hmm.
with Rimuru and gang. Um, and there is a basically in the middle of season 2, you get a hot dragon himbo, and I can't like
Love it.
that's that's my jam. He like shows up again because it's basically a character from the first season that like gets trapped, and then he like pops out
Mm-hmm.
again in the middle of second season. It's really fun, really cute. Love it. I'm also listening to Jurassic Park on audio tape because
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing excessive amounts of art. Like all of my time has been spent doing art recently. I finished a comic page for Zach that I was doing just for fun. And I realized something about myself this week, and not really
What's
this week,
that?
but like just recently, and that's I don't think I will ever be doing art as a job. And the reason for that is because I have severe demand aversion. So, like, if you ask me to do
Uh-huh.
something specific, I am not going to do that thing. I like my desire to do it will immediately disappear. But if you just tell me about your character for like an hour, there's like 1,000% chance I'm going to draw it.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Ron about that last night. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you've drawn characters for me in campaigns you were not a part of that you just heard me talking about, and we're like, I need to draw this character." But like, yeah, if you ask me to draw a character specifically, I don't think I will. So I'm like, I don't think I can do commissions because I'll just be like, I have no interest in doing that because you specifically asked me to do that. But like, you just be my friend and tell me about characters you like, and I will draw them for you.
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, so basically, Zach told me about a bunch of characters he has, and I drew like 2 comics of them already. Just
Nice.
because I felt like it. He didn't ask me to. He's like getting them like, holy crap, you did this for me? I'm like, yes, I did. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so since I've been drawing so much, I needed something to listen to. And our podcast is only 2 hours. So I need to make up for the other 20
Only.
hours that I spend that I spend drawing. So I've
I
been
just
listening.
uploaded a 2 hour and 34 minute one to YouTube
So
Tuesday.
Spotify was a jerk and didn't tell me that the new one was out yet. I had to find out because Danny started talking to me about it. Yeah, I was like, come on, Spotify, at least give me the notices. I follow us. It should be like every time I log in, it should be like new episode. But no, it didn't bother doing that. And I was like, ugh, fine. But Yeah. So what's interesting about the Jurassic Park book is, one, I've read it 20 times, so it's not like it's new to me. But like I'm noticing different things
Mhm.
because the last time I read it was over 10 years ago. So like I've changed as a person, and my perception of
Mhm.
how the book works has changed as well. So first of all, Grant really likes kids. Like he super likes kids. And I don't know why
Mhm.
they made him hate kids in the movie. That seems, I don't know, rude? Like
Yes.
like, that seems super rude because he's, like, super sweet and loves kids the entire book. Like, he's, like, super interested in the things Tim's talking about. And Tim is older. Lex is
Mhm.
younger. So, like, her being kind of scared and whiny makes sense because she's the younger sibling. Uh,
Mhm.
like, they changed a bunch of stuff to the movie that did not make any sense to me now that I'm, like, reading the book again, and I'm like, I always liked the book more, but, like, I didn't realize why until now I'm reading it. I'm like, "Oh, they made some bad choices."
Mhm.
They but, yeah, so that's kind of me. I mean, I've read a bunch of comics too, but, like, nothing that really stood out to me as something I needed to talk about.
Mhm.
Just, like, reading a bunch of comics like normal. I've been catching up with my manhwa too, which, since I'm only reading 2 or 3
Mhm.
episodes, is not giving me a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
How about you?
Me? Well, I started watching. I have to pull up my list because or else I won't remember um because of how my brain works.
Mm.
But I started watching My Happy Marriage, which is on Netflix right now,
Okay.
and
How is that?
it is it is the fucking cutest ever.
Okay.
Like, I'm mad the whole season isn't out because now they're like, we're gonna do things weekly, and I'm like, why? You have all the episodes, bitch. Like, just hand it
Give
over.
them
Why are
to
you doing it
me.
weekly? Fuck you. Give it. Give it here. I'm tired of waiting. This is some fuck shit. But I love it because there's this supernatural element that hasn't come out when people talk about it until
Mhm.
like maybe recently, but there's a supernatural element to it too. Um, but I love the fact how it's like her to be husband is one, he's hot. Two, he cares about her genuinely. They care about each other genuinely. You see in the anime, there's like she has to process a lot of trauma. She was treated very badly, and
Mhm.
now she's with someone who's just treating her as a human being, and it's like wrecking her. Like she is not used to people being nice to her. So she has a lot of trauma to process, but also they didn't make it trauma porn when they talk about what happened. So it's kind of like what they did in
Oh,
Heartbreakers, where it's
yeah.
like, he's been bullied, but they don't like show everything and make it about the past. They're making it about as she's moving through things in the present. So I'm really enjoying it. The other one I watched one episode of and we'll be watching more of is Uncle from Another World. And the premise,
Okay. That one's on High Dive, right?
no, no, it might be on High Dive, but it's also on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix, okay. I'm trying to
Mm,
keep track of where these things are so that I can watch them, and that one's
so
that's been on my
good.
list, so I definitely wanna watch it.
It's fucking ridiculous. I just saw the first episode. I can't wait to see more. But the premise on that is the uncle's been in a coma for a really long time, but while he was in a coma, he was actually in another world, and he was a, like a dragon fighter and all these other things. And he actually didn't have that good of a reputation in the other world all the time. And he comes back and he's like, I have superpowers. I'm like a sorcerer or a magician or whatever. And, the nephew's like,
Sure you are,
this
uncle.
is not, yeah, yeah, sure. Sure, uncle, let's get you your meds. But then he's like, oh no, it's real. So that one has been really out the box and hilarious. And the other one I've been watching is Oku. and that's also
Oh,
on Netflix.
okay.
And that one has some shit. Like there is some non-consent shit that happens in some of the episodes. There is an assault scene. But it was the way they did it was the least it wasn't as hard as I've seen it go in other animes or shows, if that makes sense. I was not prepared for it because I didn't know that it was
Mhm. Yeah.
going to happen because it wasn't even hinted at. Um, but it as someone who has survived assault, it was it didn't it didn't trigger me, but that's not to say that it won't trigger someone else.
Mhm.
The rest of the premise of the work. So I want to put that warning out there right away that there was an assault scene. I think it happens in episode what episode am I on now? 5. I think it happens in episode 4.
Okay.
Um but the person who did it gets murked. Like he gets murked.
Immediately?
Almost immediately.
Okay.
He gets murked.
Like, as long as
But the
they, like,
premise
die immediately, I'm semi okay with it, and as long as it's not
yeah.
too graphic. It's not too graphic, right?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
It's not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at
If stuff
all.
is
It's just
assumed,
you
I can
know what
handle
was
it a little
happening.
bit, but, like, if stuff is, like, blatantly graphic, I can't. So,
Yeah, this
okay,
is not
cool.
blatantly graphic. Um, but one thing that well, it's interesting because what happens is there's like this smallpox that only affects men under the age of 30 something. So
Mhm.
all the men in the country have like not all the men, but the younger men have all died. And so there's like not enough men. And so instead of there being a fit male shogun, there's a woman.
Mhm.
And so instead of having a harem full of women, it's a bunch of men. And so it's kind of like Ryu's Royal Love in the Palace, which is a Chinese drama, which
Yeah.
I love, Emperor Fuckboy. So it's kind of reversed in this way. And so you're hearing the stories of how this came to be and this like really like handsome monk who gets like forced into being the shogun's boy toy, and the shogun is basically like, you don't know how hard I have it, and he's like, bitch, I was a monk, I was forced to be here with you, like what are you talking about? You don't know how hard, and you think you're the only one suffering? Like get real. And she's like, and that's where I left it. So I've been watching that. I haven't been playing as much Stardew Valley, but for the most part, like I've mostly been dealing with my mental health, which hasn't been the best in the past like few weeks. But it came to a head on Tuesday, and it was just the anxiety, the like voices in my head. It got like really overwhelming. Um, but luckily I was able to talk to my psychiatrist and they upped my meds and all this other stuff. And I've been taking it easy, and the voices have chilled out and the anxiety have gone down. And I had an emergency session with my herbalist and my therapist, and like so many people came and was like, let's help you. And I got to watch anime with you. We watched Given together,
Yeah.
which is so sweet and
It's so
so
sweet.
gay. It's so
It's
sweet
super
and so
gay.
gay. I I love it. And some of the comments on the Crunchyroll thread was like, "Oh no, they're gay," and other people saying, "How did you not
How
fucking
did you
know
not know?
from
Did you
jump that this was gonna
uh,
be gay?"
I
Like, and
mean,
I'm
I
here
guess
for
the
it.
cover does make it look like it's, like, a rock type of show only, which it is. Like music very much heavily features in the show and the creative process because
Yeah.
I find that part really interesting how like we actually get to watch Uenoyama like write a song and like what he
Mhm.
has to do to write music. But yeah, no, like there are actually 3 gay pairs in the series.
Ugh,
Uh,
I can't wait for all of them. We only know of two, and one of them's a triangle, or like doesn't know what's happening. I think he knows the other guy likes him. I think he knows it. And I think he doesn't want to like. I think he needs probably there's relationship shit with him and his current partner that he's
the
not
thing
dealing with.
is, we we haven't seen it yet, but that guy is not his partner. That is a situationship happening, and
Okay,
yeah,
okay, that makes
yeah,
sense to me.
but Haru, yeah, Haru absolutely loves Akiko, like
Mhm.
1000%, and the movie is about their relationship. So the rest of the
Ah.
series is like dealing with Uenoyama and Sato, but the movie deals with Haru and Akiko, and then in the comic we get to see Mafia's 2 friends from middle
Mhm.
school. They get together as well.
Mm.
But yeah, the comic also deals with more of the music too, which is interesting, like the way that bands function, which I found
Mhm.
interesting. Like I like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yes.
I've really been liking it, and I think that's all the media I've been consuming recently because the next edit on the book is due, so I'm about to about to disappear again. Hopefully not. If I get my writing done during the week, then I'll be good. But I'm also doing there's the application process that I'm part of. I'm
Mhm.
part of the advisory board for the They Friend Non-Binary Festival. So I have to review like 125 applications for performers.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's happening. I'm like on number 36, and part of me feels like an asshole because my Virgo is coming out. Like my Virgo
Mhm.
critic is like, let's put in these notes exactly why we don't like this. And I'm like, no, be nicer. Like, be nicer, be kinder. So I'm struggling because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is this. And I'm like, but find a nice way to say it. Um, so it's been a struggle. And also I've been invited to become artistic director for Queer Cats Productions.
Ooh.
So that's another thing that's happening, training for that. Plus the book, plus the play I'm gonna be in November. I'm kinda
Right.
like,
You're busy.
so I haven't been able to consume as much media, but I'm gonna keep watching these shows. Like, Oh, has got me hooked. Uncle from Another Land, like that shit's hilarious. And My Happy Marriage. Oh, so good. So good.
I'm
So
gonna wait
good.
till that one's out fully and then binge it
Okay, I'll let you know
because I have
when.
a feeling I'm going to wanna binge that one. Oku, I will hold off on because personally, for some reason, I don't necessarily like eh, period pieces don't do it for me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I either want it modern or I want it fantasy. If it's gonna be historical, it's gotta be magical somehow. If it's not
One of those.
magical for some reason, like, it doesn't juice me. Like, I'm
I'm a
fine
period
with
piece bitch.
like, I'm
Give me
good
give
with
me a
it
period piece.
being in ancient times, but there has to be, like, yokai or it's gotta
Mm-hmm.
be, like, fox demon shit or, wuxie type of thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm all into period drama. Give me the period drama. Give me the entry. Give me the costumes. Give me all of it. Give me the traditional way of dress. Give it to me. But what I do not like sometimes that happens with period piece drama is it's so heavily focused on lineage and
Mm,
family names, and
yeah.
I ain't got the kind of time to remember. I don't even know my own lineage. Like, I ain't got all that time to be like being like somebody is like 50 balls deep into this lineage and that's why they have power and shit. And I just I instantly like my brain glosses over it. I
Yeah,
can hardly hold on to people's names. And it doesn't matter that it's like it doesn't matter. It could be in English and like people will go through lineages and I'd be like, who the fuck is this?
right?
Who the fuck are you talking about? That's why I hit a point in Game of Thrones. I read the first book and I was like, okay, cool. And the second book, they started introducing new people and new lineages. And I was like, fuck that noise. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Everybody was
To
like, Game of Thrones is so great. And I'm like, I got to get to know people. I don't like getting to know people. Like, this is not my jam at all.
to be honest, that's why I quit the tutors also. 'Cause, like, I wanted to like the show because I love Jonathan
Mm
Rhys-Meyers. I loved the chick that they had playing Anne Boleyn in that one
hmm. Mm hmm.
because she's awesome. But, like, halfway through, they're talking about, like, bloodlines and I'm gonna kill my cousins and this and that, and I'm like, I don't see how this is relevant or why I should care.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm. I'm just like, I'm not here for it.
Like, can you get back to that plague you were talking about? Because that that was interesting.
That has my interest.
And the fucking. Get back to the plague and the fucking. That's all I'm here for.
Mm hmm. Mm
Screw
hmm.
this bloodline bullshit.
Mhm. And that's the only thing that gets me with bloodline pieces. That's it. That's the only thing that gets me with period pieces. It's like you gotta know who people's families are, and I'm really not interested.
Yeah.
Really not interested. But yeah, but that's check. That's for me. That's what's been going on, and that's what I've been like watching and stuff. I highly recommend My Happy Marriage.
Okay.
It's so fucking sweet.
I will definitely add that one and the uncle one I was gonna watch anyway. That one and your boy Kong Ming I've been looking forward
Mhm.
to. That one's on High Dive, but I haven't watched it yet. I actually haven't watched anything on High Dive in a while, and I pay for it, so I should probably watch stuff. It's so funny. People are like, "Why do you hand out your logins like candy for all these things?" And I'm like, "'Cause I'm not watching it. I'm paying
Mhm.
them. Someone needs to watch it."
Someone
So
has to use it.
so please log into
Mhm.
my Hulu and watch it because I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm watching Crunchyroll every day and, like, other things maybe. I've been watching Psyche K to work out during the week, though,
Oh, I've
because
only seen
it's
a few episodes of that, and I like it.
like, it's such a dumb show, but it's, like, a really
Mhm.
fun, like, snippet just in the middle of the day to kinda,
Mhm.
you know I'm like, 25 minutes of moving my body while watching
Mhm.
this stupid show. It's
Mhm.
fun.
And even the English dub is hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, there's some things that I actually want to watch the English dub for because the English dub is slightly different in a good
Mhm.
way. So, like, I kind of wanna watch the English dub for, Skate the Infinity because there's
Mhm.
this scene where the bad guy shows up and announces his presence to everybody, and in the English dub, he says, uh girls, bros, and non-binary hoes as his welcome message.
I love it.
And in Japanese, he just says, "Hey, everybody, I'm here." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I want the other one."
Mhm.
And the same with Blue Period on Netflix. In the English dub for Blue Period, there is a non-binary character in there, and they use they them pronouns in the English one. In the Japanese one, it's not clear as to what they're doing because I
Mhm.
think that they're the way pronouns works in Japanese is different. So
Uh-huh.
it's not as obvious, but in the English dub, they clearly use they them for the character, and I like that. And then what was it? The dub for Sasaki and Miyano is actually really good. And I've watched it in Japanese, so I kind of wanna watch it in English just to hear them
Mhm.
freak out and do stuff in English instead because it's a very adorable show. So I
Mm.
certainly wouldn't mind watching it again, but in English. And then Ghost Stories. because with Ghost Stories for the dub, they didn't use the script for the anime at all. They just dubbed it
Oh,
over with whatever they felt like.
oh wow.
It's a completely different show. Like, they don't even have the same plot or anything. And it's hilarious.
Wow.
Like, they specifically did it to make it funny. So, like, you can watch the sub and, like, see the actual plot and then watch the dub and it'd be wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. What was that last one again?
Ghost Stories.
Where's that at?
Uh, it's on, I think, Netflix and Crunchyroll.
All right, cool.
So basically, you can have it from multiple avenues, and both of them have the dub and the sub. So
Mm,
it is whatever
cool.
you want.
Oh, there's one anime I was reading, and then I think they're starting to turn it. Netflix is turning it into a show, and it's a horror anime done in black and white. I
Okay.
have to figure it out what it is, and I'll tell you about it. I'll look
Let's
it
see.
up. He's famous.
It's a Junjo
The
Ito?
first, huh?
Is it a Junji Ito?
Yes,
Okay.
the first story in it was called Spirals,
Yes.
and I rarely get freaked out by horror anime, but this shit freaked me out so bad that I can't remember what it was.
Is it the Japanese Tale of the Macabre?
Yes.
Yeah. I hope they have a Tomy one. Tomy freaks me out.
Mm.
I've been reading Junjo Ito for a long time. He's amazing. Like, his storytelling, he tells the creepiest stories, but he is such a sunshine person.
Oh.
He has an entire manga dedicated to his cat because he's obsessed with his cats. Like,
Aw.
yeah, they always use him and Miyamori from Studio Ghibli as like opposites because Hayato's like a nihilist. Like, he's extremely depressive as a person, but
Wow.
his anime is all like cute and fluffy and
Hope and
sweet.
yeah.
And Junjo Ito's the opposite. Like, his manga is like the darkest shit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's like the
I'm like,
biggest
I'm
sunshine
hooked.
guy ever.
Okay.
He went to Comic-Con this year and they caught a picture of him in a Barbie box saying, "This box is just for me." Oh my god, yeah. But if you get a chance to read Tomie first. It's Tomie, and
Okay.
it's basically a series of stories about this girl who makes people obsessed with her until they literally rip her apart, and then all of her parts turn into more Tomies, and they go off and do the same thing. And then the people that ripped her apart go insane and usually die.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
That also sounds like my kind of fuckery, though.
It
I'm
is,
gonna
it's
search
really
for it.
good.
Tommy. Tomei.
IE.
IE. All right. It's not on Viz. I'm just gonna have to look for it for other places. Yeah, I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, there's,
Uh,
I think Theater of the Macabre is the manga that has a bunch of the
mm,
stories, which is probably what they made the anime on Netflix about, was his
mm.
various short stories. But yeah, he's really good.
Oh, it's called Uzumaki. Is what I'm reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Good creepy stuff.
Yes.
So on to today's subject.
All right, yes. So shoujo. Um, Shoujo is a great genre, and for some reason they have like stopped making anime in shoujo. Like 90% of the romance anime that's available right now is seinen. It's not shoujo. And I don't know why. There's some josei as well, Like, I would consider, um, like, wotakoi would be more josei than
Mhm.
shoujo. Josei is, like, older women comics,
Mhm.
but, like, shoujo in the romance would be, like, Ouran Host Club and, uh, Kimi ni Todoke, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
which we love.
Love it so much. Love it so much. I'm trying to feel like where does My Happy Romance? Because it's like My Happy Marriage. Like it's like I'm wondering if that fits as a shoujo. Like, but I don't know because she's an older person, but she's not that much older. Like, I think she's 19 in the story. It's just so chill. I can't say good. Yes, I do want more things like Oran Host Club and stuff like that. I haven't even
Okay,
thought about that.
so, My Happy Marriage is shoujo, so that one counts as shoujo. Shoujo is more
Yay.
like the way the genre is presented. Like, if it's presented as, like, light and fluffy and more, kid-friendly, then it's gonna be more in the shoujo genre, but if it's,
Mm-hmm.
like, a little bit more adult, then it turns into josei. The thing with,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, I love a lot of the romances that are coming out that are seinen, but the fact that
Explain seinen.
so seinen and shonen are more geared towards boys,
Mm-hmm.
and seinen is more for, like, older, it's a little bit more mature than shonen. Shonen's more like the action, like your Narutos, your Black Clovers, that kind of thing. Seinen is more, a little bit older demographically, so you're gonna have deeper
Mm-hmm.
stories, like, Jujutsu Kaisen, I think, would be more seinen than shonen,
Mm-hmm.
because it's darker. You're not gonna show that to kids. You shouldn't show it to kids. I
Oh.
mean, you can, but you probably shouldn't, because it gets real fucking dark real fucking fast, but the romances that count as seinen are Comey Can't Communicate. That's a seinen. My Dress Up Darling. That's a seinen. There's a new one on High Dive, which is really cute, called uh, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. That's a seinen. Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. That's a seinen. So while they are romance and they hit all the flags for romance, they don't count as shoujo. And the reason why is because the boy's the protagonist. It's a story about the boy and the girl he
Oh,
loves.
you're right.
Yeah,
It's not about the
it's
girl.
not about the girl.
Oh my God. You're right.
Yeah. So most of the romances that are coming out now are seinen. They're not shoujo. And while I love them, I want more shoujo. I want the girls to be out there throwing their hearts around.
You know what? I I want more of the girls too. Now that I see it from that point of view, I'm like, oh shit, that's a thing. And at the same time, I'm also appreciating that there are more depictions of soft boys
Mhm.
in media.
Yeah.
Like these are not stories about like toxic masculinity. There is one that I watched where he was doing some toxic masculinity shit and he had to switch his story up. It included a girl who was deaf.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that one. I haven't seen it, but
It
I
was
know I
good.
know the
He
one
had to
you're
make
talking about.
amends.
That I know that
Yeah,
one's gonna make me cry, though. I know that one's gonna make me
it
cry a
will.
lot, so I haven't
It will. And it
I'm
is
not brave
also
enough
not
to watch
for
it yet.
kids. It will make you cry. I'll watch it with you if you want, but
Okay.
it was really well done. It was beautifully done and he had to learn some stuff, but it was about him. And you're right, I haven't seen a lot of things coming out where the focus is the woman. Even when I'm watching Ooku, like
Mhm.
the oku. Like it is still like there's a woman shogun, but it's still focused on men. Like a
It's about the
quarter of the
men.
men,
Yeah.
three-fourths of the men are dead in the country, and it's still about a man. Um,
Yeah.
so you are correct, my friend.
Yeah.
You are correct. Oh
And
my
the other
god.
thing that has been happening is
Uh-huh.
that when they do allow a shoujo to come forward, they are often not getting, sequels. So, Yona of the Dawn is one that I will die on the hill of being angry about, because Yona of the
Mhm.
Dawn is a fantastic shoujo. It's a reverse harem with this princess who's a badass and just collects beautiful men, and they gave it
Mm.
1 season. There is a cliffhanger, and there are, like, 20 volumes of the manga. So it's not like they ran out of material, they just decided to stop making it because I don't know why, but it came out in the
Well,
mid 2000s and I'm still angry.
we kind of know why.
Yeah.
They're focusing on men and men's stories, and like it's like the same reason why felt like in the past all that came out was fighting anime. It was like
Mhm.
for young boys. This is geared towards young boys still, or younger men still. Um, it's still following men. It's just changing. It's just have a different view on masculinity, which
Yeah.
I do find valuable, but at the same time, not to the point of just silencing the stories of girls and women.
Yeah, someone in one of their videos pointed out that there's a really popular manga, I think it's called Lemon Drop Kiss or something, and it's sold more than some of the shonen manga that's, like, super popular and has anime, and there are no plans to make it into an anime. And they're like, so the fact that the manga has sold more than, like, literally all of these other all of these other genre books, and there's just no plans because they think there's not gonna be an audience for it, which doesn't make any sense, especially
No
since,
fucking
like,
sense.
yeah.
Even Oshinoko main character is about your boy and not.
Yeah, that's a seinen. Oshinoko's a seinen. Also,
Oh
isn't
my
it
god.
isn't it wild that there's, like, silence online about the incest arc? Still. Like, I haven't heard
No
it from
one's talking
anyone
about
else.
it.
No one's talking about it. Everyone's
No
just
one's talking
continuing to
about
make
it.
content with the anime, and I'm like, "Yeah, the anime's not there yet. The anime's not gonna be there for 4 seasons." But we read the manga.
Not
Oh my
everyone reads
god.
the manga. Not everyone reads the
I
manga.
know, which is like, I understand that, and at the same time, like, I'm happy about it because especially since most people don't read the manga for, like, Jujutsu Kaisen, that the internet's going to be on fire when the art comes out. Like, there's even announcements are like, "The Shibuya incident starts on August 31st," and I'm like, "Yes, bitch." I can't wait for people
Yeah,
freaking
I've
out
seen
online.
articles. I've seen articles with people saying, this is going to be a filler episode. These are the filler episodes, but then that arc is going to hit. And I've heard, but no one is saying exactly what's going to happen. They're still calling it the incident.
Well,
Um,
that's the
but
name of the
people,
arc is the Shibuya incident, so it's not
yeah,
like
but they're
they're
not giving any clues of what
they shouldn't!
happens.
Oh my god, they shouldn't! You have to go in raw. It is important.
I
Like,
just
it's
want to
in
know what my baby daddy's going to do. As long as my baby daddy lives, I'm fine. As long as my baby daddy lives, I'm fine. Um,
w
I don't want it to be another donut situation.
I was like, you're talking Gojo, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not
Your
gonna say
face says he
anything.
doesn't make it.
No, he does, but things happen. Like I already told you he fights Sukuna. He's fighting Sukuna currently in the manga. So obviously he doesn't die during the Shibuya incident because he's fighting Sukuna currently.
I don't want him to change either.
Change how? He gets
I
bulked.
don't know. He's
He
goofy as
gets
fuck right now.
no, he's still goofy as shit. Like I said, he gets bulked
Okay.
so he can wear Toji cosplay. Like he doesn't give a shit. That's how he lives his life.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's stuff that happens though.
Okay.
You're gonna be crying a
Okay.
lot. And yelling at
I'm
me.
not. I'm ready to not be ready.
And yelling at me.
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah. Cause I want you to experience it. We're gonna be sobbing together, okay? Because I know even though I've read it and I know what's happening, it hits different in animation. It just does.
Mhm.
It hits on a different level.
Mhm.
And
Oh my god.
I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, go ahead.
I want more shoujo too.
Right? Like one of my favorites, Kimi ni Todoke, and like I've been trying to think of if there are any romances I would put at that level, and like my love story, people say it's a shoujo, but the main character's a dude, so it
The
can't
main is
be.
it's not. It's a he's a dude. Like we don't spend a lot of time at home with her. We don't spend a lot
No.
of that much time. We spend time with her. Like she has her own thing with the whole. The most time we spend with her is during the whole bakery thing.
Yeah.
Was that one same one? Yeah, do the whole bakery thing. But aside from that, it's all him and his struggle and him being
Yeah.
like, I like her, but I don't know if she likes me. And a lot of it takes place in his head.
Yeah, and I'm
Like
like,
so much of
so
the dialogue takes place in his head.
and people are like, "Yeah, it's a shoujo," and I'm like, "It's not though." Like the storytelling style, yes, is shoujo, but it doesn't star a girl. You can't
Mm-hmm.
you can't just bend it so that like I mean, yes, maybe it's geared towards storytelling wise more towards women, but that doesn't mean that it's a shoujo. It just means that it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, popular amongst women too. And like I was thinking cuz like Horimiya is really good. And
Mm-hmm.
Horimiya is not a shoujo. It's also a seinen. And I'm like, why? Why can't we have more shoujo? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the shoujo that I've seen presented recently, like in the past 5 or 6 years, has either been magical girl related and has been dark as shit, or
Mm-hmm.
um, or is catty as fuck. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's not a whole lot of, girls being friends, unless it's the cute girls doing cute things genre, but
Yeah.
cute girls doing cute
But that
things is
doesn't
like
always include a romance.
that's not a romance. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
JoJo because it's starring girls, but it doesn't involve romance at all. So
Yeah.
we're not like Kami-sama Kiss, that's shoujo. I consider Fruits Basket shoujo, but trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Where where is my lighthearted shoujo? Where's my adventure
Yeah.
shoujo?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically Ancient Magus Bride is shoujo, but
Yeah. I just started watching that.
it's
That's the
so
other thing I
good.
watched this week. I forgot about that. That's the other thing I watched about
The
this week.
theme song alone is such a bop on
Mm-hmm.
that one. I love it so much. Juna is the singer. She does such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love that one a lot. But yeah, we need more shoujo. We really do. Because the majority of the shows coming out, like if you go in, because every time on like my anime list or whatever, you can look up the shows that are releasing that season by genre.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the shows releasing every season are seinen and shonen. They don't have a lot coming out for shoujo and
No!
josei. Yeah.
Oh my god! They're missing out on an entire demographic of
Yeah.
watchers.
And the thing is, because we're all up on the seinen romances, they think that that's
Is
fine.
oh, Citrus is not even shoujo.
No,
That
because
is not shoujo.
because you also gotta think about the audience it's meant for, and Citrus is definitely not
Yeah.
meant for young girls. It's just not.
No, it's not. Wow.
Yeah, like, and
Wow.
that's the thing. Again, if you're looking at
Brothers
the
conflict
okay. I don't know if we can count the harem otomes as shoujo. They're otome genre. I mean, technically it is starring a girl and it is romance related, but come on. It's a
that's
little
me
more
scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I would consider the otome ones more josei though because they're definitely not for children.
Mhm. I just can't believe the squirrel had an arc. That the squirrel was one of the choices, you
The
know?
squirrels are route. Oh
Was a
my
route.
god. Just like the
Squirrels are out.
Pomeranians are route in the Devil's Dance one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Look at
Oh,
people. They so creative. People just be so creative. So creative. It's
uh-huh.
wild.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have some dating sim Steam keys I'll be sending you within the next couple months because I've been kickstarting like nobody's business, and
Nice.
I've been getting extra keys anytime I can, so I can send them to you and we can play the dating sims together.
That'll be so much
Because
fun.
you know, it's fun, it's fun. We like doing things.
Mhm.
Um, oh, but speaking of doing things together, because I didn't mention this before, but if you ever wanna just do parallel stuff where we're just, like, literally on the phone while listening to music and doing whatever we're doing, I'm down because I'm doing projects every night too.
I
So
I would I would love that. Even if we like connected to Zoom
yeah,
and
and just
like
hung
just had
out.
it on mute if we need to have it on
Yeah.
mute and just listen to what we're listening to and do our work. Because I need someone there with me so I can finish writing this fucking book and get it out of my system and just out of my life in a different way and into it in a new way. Like I I am like I'm like this with it. So I would
Yeah.
love to work on my book while you're working on your painting and art and stuff like that. And
Because I
that would
realized
rock my socks.
that's what I've been doing with Ron on Fridays is we used to, like,
Mhm.
play games together, and lately it's just been listening to our various musics and him sending me links to the music he's listening to, and sometimes talking and sometimes just being silent while he's writing and I'm drawing. And I'm like, "That's actually
Yes.
really helpful for getting stuff done." So, um, yeah, so if you want that, we can definitely do that a couple nights this week just to
I I want that. I'm telling you now I want it. I
okay.
need it.
Let's do it.
Cool. So do you want to move on to Discordianism?
Yeah, yeah, let's talk about it because, so I was kind of explaining to Zach a couple weeks ago about the various forms of Discordianism because Discordianism is not
Uh-huh.
just one thing. The most
Yeah.
common that you'll see so, for the audience, Discordianism is a it's not really a religion, more as a philosophy and an embrace of chaos as a concept and a needed force
Uh-huh.
in the universe. So,
Yes.
because of that, it translates very well into different, genres of the belief system. The most common there are 3 most common, one of them is the Arisians, or people who follow Eris, which is the Greek goddess of chaos. She is the one who created the
Uh-huh.
golden apple, which then
Yep.
caused the Trojan War. So chaos is kind of her jam, and, Arisians follow her. They tend to be a little, I don't know, in my experience, they tend to be a little dark, the Arisians. They're just like, yes, chaos, wah.
Yes.
And so, like, if you find any pagan edgelords, they
They're
might be
they're the kind that
Arisians.
they're the kind that are like, yes, bring on the rapture apocalypse all at once.
Yes.
Like, yeah, yeah.
So the drama queen edgelord Discordians are definitely the Arisians. But
Mm-hmm.
the other two that are most popular that you've probably heard of, one is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which
Mm-hmm.
is um, more lighthearted, I would say, like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
liking chaos in for chaos's sake. It all Discordians are a little bit absurdist, but like at different levels of absurdism. And I
Mm-hmm.
would say um, the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church tends to go more towards the goofy absurdism,
Mm-hmm.
like just being silly about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fun. And then the third one is the one that I know the most about, whether that be good or ill, is the Church of the Subgenius,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure you know a bit about as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But not much.
Yeah. So the Church of the Subgenius was created in California in the 70s by these two dudes. And the main philosophy of it is the philosophy of slack, or basically protecting your time, which is not a bad philosophy to have.
No, it's not a bad philosophy to have. I've just met a few people who fuck around with it, and I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
strangle all of them that I have met
Yeah. So
for the
the
most part.
I agree with you. Like, I find Subgenius fascinating in terms of how it's set up because it's actually organized really well. Like, they have an established god in Bob and the goddess in Connie, and they have like rituals and they have like holidays and they have like, here is the things that you do. And the actual setup and the philosophy is fascinating. But
Yeah,
most of the people who practice it are
the
insufferable.
practitioners.
They're just
Yes.
insufferable.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And they all think, like, I'm generalizing here, people. I just want to be really clear that I know that I'm generalizing. I'm aware of it and that I'm choosing to do it anyway in this regard. But they think they're so smart.
They
They think they're
do.
so smart. They think they're the smartest people in the room.
Yes. Oh my god, they're such elitists. It's hilarious.
So
I'm
elitist
like,
and so emotionally unintelligent.
yes. Yeah, okay, so, like, again, that's a generalization, like I said,
It's a generalization, y'all.
I've studied a lot about it, and it's fascinating. I highly recommend that you look into it. I just also highly recommend never ever dating someone from personal experience.
From personal experience
It
on this
will
end
not
too,
go
fam.
well.
Oh my God. Oh, the flashbacks. Oh, what I just had. Ah. Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, no, I know more about it than I thought I did. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I've actually read the books and it's really, really interesting. And then I also discovered that my favorite show as a kid is actually Subgenius, and that is the Pee-wee's Playhouse show. And how I know it's
Oh, wow.
Subgenius is because at the ending of the show, when he pulls down the wall to take the scooter out to fly away, there's a portrait of Bob on the wall. So if you know, you know, but if you don't know, it just looks like generic white guy with a pipe.
Oh my God, that makes Pee Wee's Playhouse
Makes
make
sense,
so much
right?
sense.
It is literally absurdist at its core. Like that
Oh
is
my
that is how the
God,
show functions.
it makes so much sense. Rest in peace, Paul Rubens. He just passed away.
Mhm.
So rest in peace.
Yeah,
And
that's why it was so relevant
wow.
because I was like, because like that influenced me so much as a kid, and that's why I'm so absurdist now. But like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that that was part of it adds an additional flavor because that also makes me think Laurie Anderson might be a subgenius as well,
Mm.
just because of the way that she does her art. Um, and by that, I mean, like, basically anything that you see from the 70s and 80s and 90s that was extremely absurdist, but also artsy fartsy, like, as
Mm-hmm.
as snobbishly artsy as possible, but also as weird as possible, probably was influenced somehow, by a Discordian group.
Wow. I just want to slap him. I just want to slap him. Like, 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 and by that I mean my ex, not Paul Rubens. Like,
Right, yes.
my my right hand is twitching. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
I also feel that in my soul. But I can also say 100% that, our exes abused the religion because
Yes,
it's definitely not meant to be, as, uninterested and lazy as possible, which is how both of them took
yes,
it. That's not what Slack is
yes,
about. Protecting your time is completely different from deciding that you never want to do anything.
yes, yes. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Okay, all right, cool. I might look up some more about it now that I realize it is a root of trauma. And understand.
It's
Yeah, no,
like
it's just the practitioners, just like you have with Christianity. Like
mhm,
when you look at some of Christianity and you look at some of the core tenets of Christianity, it's like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. But then when you look at the people who practice it or how the text has been
interpreted.
interpreted, perverted,
Yeah.
uses the tool of power, like then it's like, ugh. And that's all because people did it. That's because the people did it. So, um,
And
so
that is again
yeah.
saying just because someone is in a practice does not necessarily make them good or bad. It doesn't make the
Yep.
practice good or bad. It's how you use the practice because I have
How
met
you use it.
terrible pagans and I have met terrible
Oh,
Christians. And, there's
so
terrible
many
people
terrible
with
pagans.
everybody, and nobody's
Mm-hmm.
exempt. You can't just be like, "Oh, because you're pagan, you're cool." No. No, they are
No,
not. Um,
no.
and in fact, caveat warning, if you are a baby witch and you are listening to this at any point and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, it sounds really cool hanging out with other pagans and being in a coven and stuff." It is. It's very cool. Be cautious. Be
Yep.
1,000% cautious. Vet where you're going and who you're going to see, and make sure that they are committed to protecting minority groups. And by that, I mean they're committed to not allowing hate into their space for any reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I don't go to local practices here in Ohio because we don't know if fucking Odinists are gonna show up because they're fucking
Yeah.
everywhere and I hate them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
again, if you're new to the podcast and you don't know about Odinists, they're basically Nazis. They're
Yep.
pagan Nazis. They
Yep.
hate everyone and they're terrible. And they infiltrate
Mm-hmm.
groups just like Nazis do because
Because they
because
are.
no one's allowed nice things.
Mhm.
Because no one's allowed nice things, that's why. Uh,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Oh, just the memories that came back just now.
yeah,
they're gonna go away again, but it's like, yeah. Um, yeah, with any religion or spirituality or any places that you visit, within spiritual context, it's really important that you're aware of your surroundings. And I think we take spiritual places as safe places
mhm,
because it's like they should be. They really should be. Like you should
yeah,
be in you should be able to be vulnerable around people whose practices are communicated in such a way that it seems like it would inherently be safe. But you're
yeah,
still dealing with human beings
right,
who are still dealing with their own shit and their own trauma and their own messiness. And that bleeds over into spirit and how we operate in our spaces. So, but I also feel like it's really, I, I treat my spirituality and my kink the same way. Like, I vet people, I make sure things are consensual, I make sure things are safe, as much as possible. And sometimes I failed, like, to protect myself or to see that a situation wasn't safe and invested a lot of time and energy in it and found out that it wasn't that. And I've been really, really hurt because I didn't expect to be abused, treated a certain way,
mhm,
pushed to the edges of, or harmed by people within my spiritual practices.
yeah,
And that when those situations have occurred, it has hurt me so deeply. And doesn't matter whether it's intentional or unintentional.
mhm,
It it has it has affected me. It used to affect me in a way in which I would want to step away from spirituality on a whole, but now it just makes me feel like very protective of myself and sometimes
mhm,
isolated because I'm like, there has got to be more people who want to actually create safe spiritual spaces. But where are they? And how does a space go from being set up in such good intention, and have such a harmful negative impact? Like I'm curious about all of that because I'm a space holder. So like I
mhm,
know sometime in the future that I'm going to be holding space for people in, helping them, and I help them create their own traditions. And that eventually I'm going to need people to come together and come to me in community and be with me in
mhm,
community. And like, how do I maintain holding space that is safe for marginalized groups spiritually? And people that I have come in to help facilitate that space, I've just seen so many spaces fall apart because of our human condition. But we got to be human in these spirit form, like in the form
mhm.
we are now. Like just case in point, Kaya Coven. Kaya Coven went through some shit when one of their high priestesses was doing some trans antagonistic shit, hating on trans
Really?
women. Yes. Oh,
I didn't
yes.
know
Did you
that.
not? You didn't know
No.
about that?
I don't pay
Ooh.
attention to the pagan news. I'm not my ear is not to the ground. You are my source of pagan news,
This
so tell me all the tea.
this this happened a while ago, but like, and the only reason I know the ins and out is because I was supporting someone
Mhm.
um who was who entered into the fray visibly as someone who was going to champion these groups that were being discriminated by, from Yeshe Rabbit, who has spoken at, yeah, the name's familiar because she's
The
spoken at
name's
PantheaCon a
familiar.
bunch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get okay, go ahead.
So yeah, so stuff was happening and they had to call like her out on shit, and it was just It was intense. And what happens in spiritual communities when someone's like, this isn't right, and the other person has a lot of supporters that don't believe them, and the supporters are casting curses and hexes and all this other shit against innocent people. And so eventually, like after everything came out to light, Yeshe had to step Rabbit. I'm gonna call her Yeshe. Rabbit had to step down from not only the Kaya Coven position that she had, but also the Sacred Well, which
Oh.
is a spiritual shop in Oakland
Yeah, yeah.
that she was a part of. Like they even changed the name of the shop to Raven's Wing. And when they changed the name of the shop, when they changed the name of the shop, I was like, this shop had another name. This shop had another name. And it took me a month to remember the old name. And I'm like, oh, they spelled this name. They spelled this name in order to be as a part of the spelling her. Because even my partner at the time was like, what the fuck was the name before? Like, I know it had another name. And neither one of us could come up with the name. And I was like, they spelled this name. Good on them, but I broke through their spell. I was like, I am going to I was like, I'm going to remember this bitch. But yeah, so they had to, but it took a while. It took a while to unseat her. And it took a
Mhm.
lot of evidence to unseat her. Um,
Well,
so
'cause
I'm
she
like,
was
how did,
ingrained. She was, like, ingrained deep in the community. Because
yes.
I remember her. I do remember, because I didn't wanna like, say it, but I do remember that I got a certain vibe off of her, and by a certain
Yeah.
vibe off of her, I mean, I got a Dianic vibe off of her.
I didn't get the
So
Dianic vibe off of her at first, but what I did get was culty.
mm, okay.
I got culty, especially with a name like Yeshua or Yeshe. Like,
Yeah, that's a choice. I
that
mean, I
is a
can't really
choice.
talk because my magic name is it feels like it's like a 14-year-old made it now that I'm looking back at it. I don't care, I still like it. But,
Well, my name is my magical name. And my name got some, uh, my name has some ego behind it. Rawiyah means translator of divine text, a
hmm.
receiver of divine text. So yeah, and my last name is the name of a warrior who kicked the colonizers out of northern Africa, and also means morning star. So like, I can't. I guess I can't really talk, but I named myself Yeshe or Yeshua or some shit like
Yeah.
that.
I feel like so but your name, like, really fits you, I feel like, because you
Mm-hmm.
hold power. You hold power, and I don't feel like you bat out of the park with the name. I feel like you got to the level you needed to get, and that was how you got there. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, while it's powerful, it's appropriately powerful.
Yeshe is
Meanwhile,
like, we got a call here. Yeshe Rabbit.
my magical name is Tanwyn Ravensword, so, uh, very edgelord. Very edgelord.
Oh my god!
Do you remember?
Can I come from the Shire and visit you? Like that's how.
I mean, yes, I
Okay.
I live in a bog. The name Tanwyn means, like, white fire.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, I'm a will-o'-the-wisp, and I will lead you into the bog and drown you there. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
It's
fine. It's
a
okay.
it's a it's like a Ga Gaelic Celtic name. So I
Mm-hmm.
went with bloodline. I did. And then
Mm-hmm.
I chose my bloodline of being an edgelord for the second name. I still love it though. It's fine.
Hmm.
Cardibus is my
I'm
art name though, and I feel more residing in Cardibus. Like if somebody on the street called out Cardiff,
so.
I'd be like, "Hey, what's up? That's me."
What does cardibus mean?
I don't
I've been
know.
meaning to ask you that.
It came to me in the shower. I was just in the
Oh
shower
wow, you received
and
a name.
I received a name. This is the name that came to me. And I tried to look it up because I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And the only thing I could find was bus card in French. So it means the card that you get on the bus with. And there is an ancient text from Europe that has
Hmm.
cardibus listed as one of the herbs, but there is no translation as to what that herb is or what it does. But uh
Hmm.
yeah. It just means me at this point. There isn't any background for it that I could find.
Hmm.
So, if anybody else finds a background for it, please tell me because everyone else thinks it means bus card. It's so funny. Like people in the game that I was playing that I started using the name it call me Carta, and every time I try to use translation, it like translates it as notebook or map. I'm like, yes, I am the map. But yeah, so it doesn't have any particular meaning. It just came to me and it became me. So
I'm trying to be like, does it have a Latin
it
like
might.
base?
It probably
Carta
does.
is Latin and Italian for paper
Yeah,
chart maps. So you do use, I mean, you do use mediums of paper.
I do. Yeah. But if you like Google the full name, you'll see that like there's one ancient text that has it listed as an
Yeah,
herb of some kind.
I
But
did. I
like
found that text.
trying to dig into it, there's like no other information about what herb it could be. Cause
See, I feel
like
like it's two words combined.
you think?
I feel like Cartabus is two words combined. So, like, if Carta is like paper or
Hmm.
notebook, and bus is short for omnibus for all,
Oh.
like, I mean, fam, you do have all the paper. I mean, you got
Full of paper. Accurate. I am full of paper. Thank you.
all of it, all of it. So, I think, but also with your last name, how are you not fucking with the Morgan?
Cause she scares me. Like both no, seriously, like both the Morgan and Odin have spoken to me in the
Mm
past. And they're both like, you're gonna be a warrior for me and you're gonna commit to this. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Then I run
hmm.
away
Mm hmm.
like a scared child. So yeah, I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to. I've got two Raven users after me, and I have avoided them um, by hiding under my blanket.
I'm like, whoa, like, that name is like summoning them to you.
I know. I didn't mean to. They're both kind of mad at me though, because I have been avoiding them for years now.
I mean, part of me would avoid them, really, truly, because they are hardcore. And the other part of me would be like, what's the exchange here?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
what's the exchange here? Tell me, I'm interested to know what the what y'all want from me and what y'all gonna give me in return for this.
So the other thing that makes me nervous is it's pretty clear they don't want to work together and that they are fighting about it. And I don't know who to pick.
Oh.
I don't want to pick
Oh.
somebody because then the other one will get mad if I pick them. So I
Oh. Well, the other one's just gonna have to protect you from the other one.
I know. I
But like
know.
my first magical name when I was, and this is in the realm of like when MySpace. This is the before times.
The before times.
Before times. The before times when there were glitter gifts and you could like use HTML to make your own page. Like I resisted Facebook because I'm like, Facebook looks boring. I can have a sparkle glitter flag on my page. I can have like jazz music playing in the background when you
Yeah,
read my blog.
you
Do
could pick
do do
music.
do
It
do
was
do
so
do
cool.
do do do. MySpace was a fucking amazing. I loved MySpace. Um, but yeah, oh no, I got so stuck on, oh, it was Sapphire Wolf. But it wasn't Sapphire spelled
I
Sapphir,
remember that.
Sapphire. You remember Sapphire Wolf?
I
It
do
was
remember that.
Saifyre
Yeah.
and Wolf with an E. Because I was like, I'm a lone wolf. Now I know lone
So
wolves don't exist.
so both of our first magical names were edgelord.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
Like,
Exactly.
I actually think that Cartabus could be my magical name because it just feels so the whole of me that I
Mhm.
say it's an art name, but it's really just my name, for lack of a better way to put it.
Mm.
I don't divest from my actual name because my actual name is fine. So, like, I definitely respond to that, and I don't mind being called it. But, like, yeah, you can call me Cartabus all day, every day, and I will respond and feel normal about it because it is just who I am. I never felt that about my magical name, though. Like,
Mm.
I never felt whole and within it the way that I do with this name. Like, this name feels as close to me as my given name, essentially, in
Mm.
terms of
Mhm.
how I would respond to it. And I've only had it for, like, a year at most, but, like, I'm at home in it because I live
Mhm.
in it all the time.
Mm.
Yeah, which is interesting to
It's
me.
nice when you receive a name and it's like, and it becomes part of you and it feels like it fits.
Mhm.
When I received my name, I was not ready to take it up. It took years before I was able to call myself by my name. And then to change my biological name, not biological, there's no biological name.
Your
To
legal
change my
name?
to
Your
change my
government
legal
name?
birth to change my legal birth name from that name into my magical name or into something that more represents me was
Mhm.
something that was very, very powerful to do. Also, I think it's going to be really awkward if I ever speak to my mom again and she calls me Irene and I'm like, that's not my name.
Yeah.
That's going to be awkward. I'm pretty sure she already knows because my family follows me on social media and they are nosy, like, and they will go run and tell things so quickly. So I'm pretty sure she already knows that I legally changed my name. Um, yeah, that whole situation. Um, but having a name be handed to you and then you're able to fill the space of that name and that name fills the space of you is like so beautiful and amazing and part of creating a whole. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
received your name, friend.
I felt weird about it at first because I didn't know what it meant, you know? I
Mhm.
didn't see what it was for. I just knew that that's the name I had to go by for
Mhm.
reasons, and I started using it in games at first because it was easy enough to use and it's not a common name, and yeah, and that was it.
Mhm.
and it just kind of started sticking because people were calling me that all the time, and I wasn't giving them my legal name because it was in a game,
Mhm.
but, um, I'm perfectly comfortable in it, which is a unique and new kind of experience for me. But
Mhm.
it's good, I like it. I like it.
I started using Rawia as my pen name on Archive of Our Own and fanfic.net. So whenever I write my Avatar The Last Airbender fan fiction,
Mhm.
I would use it. I would use it for that. I loved my fan fiction. As soon as I take a break from writing the book or when the book is done, I'm gonna write some fan fiction for Korra and Asami. Write some Korra Asami fan fiction. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna write some Korra Asami fan fiction.
The other fan fiction you wrote was Zutaro, right?
Oh my
Or
god. I wrote Zutara so hardcore. I wrote Zutara so hardcore and it was all in the future. Like so she had been like with Aang and someone had tried to like get to Aang by getting to her and Aang was like I want to keep you safe, so I'm going to leave you. And Katara's like that's fucking stupid. And and Aang
because
was
she would be
like
like that, yeah.
yeah, cause like that's fucking stupid. And Aang was like something about like they told me about earthly attachments and I tried to fight it, but like I can't have them use you as a tool against me. So they broke up and then I killed off Mai while she was giving birth to Zuko's baby, but the baby survived. And so then I had Iroh get sick and so Katara came to take care of Iroh and then like and this one Iroh was the Fire Lord. Like Zuko was like I need to go take care of the country. I need to be out in these streets. Iroh, I need you to be on the throne so that I can do what I need to do with the people. And the throne was going to pass directly to Zuko afterwards. Because I'm like, Zuko is like 12. Like, how can I know it was 16 or 17 or whatever, but I'm like,
Zuko's a baby. He can't be king.
Zuko's run a country. He's a child. He's a child.
I mean,
All
fair.
the adults in his cabinet so far are colonialists, like imperialists, and all this kind of stuff. He'd have to do a lot of work, but if Iroh knows how to do, I let Iroh do that shit. Um,
Like,
we didn't
for real,
start the
Iroh was the
fire.
only adult worth anything in that show. He and
Only one.
his White Lotus gang, that was it.
Oh, only ones. That was it. Cause even Katara's father weren't shit. Like
No.
Katara was
I
like, "You
mean,
left us," and her dad.
that man is hot, but yeah, daddy's not worth much.
Yeah, that no. No, he was like, I'm gonna go fight this war, and all the men like fucked off. And anyway. So anyway, they was together and it was great and the sex was so healing that his scar like went away. She didn't recognize him at first. But she was
That's awesome.
she
Booty healed that scar.
healed that scar. And also in my thing, in my book, in my
Mhm.
not in my book, but it was like 120-page fan fiction. Um, Katara got like struck by lightning from Azula, and that's why Aang like left. Like Azula had escaped and was trying to have a
Mhm.
faction like rise up. And so Katara had this huge scar on her back, that was similar to like um the scar that Aang had, except it was different. Like it whole branched out, and like Zuko was like kissing the scar and like all this other stuff. Like she never let anybody touch it. Like this is
Mhm.
years later. I see you making a face, like ugh, but like the parts of
I'm
herself that
not
she was
making
like,
a
it's
face
scarred.
like,
Nobody look at me.
it's more just like, um, I really, really wanna read it, and also it's a little cringe at the same time. Just a little, just a
They're
teensy
like in
tiny bit.
their 30s. They're like in their 30s in this book. In this book, they're like in their
Okay.
30s. Yeah. No, they're
Okay.
not young in this.
They're, like, grown.
Time has passed.
Alright,
They're
I
like
need to I need to
35.
read it, I think. I need to read it to get the full
Yeah.
context, and I will
Yeah,
read
they're
it.
35.
Imma find it
He's
right now.
gently touching the scar that she's like, I don't look at this part of me. And he's like, it's part of you. He's like, I have a scar on my face, bitch. Like, I let you touch my face. Like, let me touch this. Let me touch the scar. So anyway, like, she's like, no, I have to leave you because like, what are people gonna think? And I have my own country that needs to be like uplifted. And we're like, I can't stay here with you
Mhm.
and be with you when I have shit that needs to be healed in my own land because of what your land did for 100 years. And
Yeah.
he's like, wow, you really gonna go there? Like, yes. She's like, you got me up in here. When am I supposed to be taking care of your son? Like, and you and all this other shit. So she's like, I gotta leave. But she took a long route home. Turns out she was pregnant. He done knocked her up. He knocked her up good. And so he follows her to the water tribe, and is like, I want you, and I want you to want me. I want
Want
you to
you to
want
want
me.
me.
So they end up together, and I hadn't worked out the diplomacy around how they enter together comfortably. But yeah, but that's basically like it. Like there was some really cool sequences in there where he saved her life once and shit and before. And then I have the ones where she was just so like angry at him for what he had done and what he represents and they had to get over that. Like and how he always wanted her for like he's always wanted her forgiveness because her forgiveness felt like something that he needed to have in order to like someone like approve of him. Like he hadn't worried about anybody else approving him. For some reason, he was fixated on Qatar approving him, and probably because Qatar was like, um, nobody believes you, and if you touch Aang, I will fuck you up. Like if you fuck over Aang, I will murder you. Um, because Katara has that energy. But yeah, I wrote Zutara. I wrote
What
Zutara.
is
I
your
love Zutara.
username? I can't find it.
Rawia, are you looking for
Yes, I'm looking for
me? Are you on
you.
archive now?
I need to
I
figure out how to
didn't.
log in, but yes.
It was Rawia without the H at the end, I believe.
Ah, okay, that's why it's not pulling up. Do, do, do.
I don't have the one I'm talking about. I don't have posted. I have the smaller ones posted. I know. I'm sorry.
You're like
I'd have to type
you're
that shit
hyping me
back up
up
again.
here and not giving me the juice. Rude. Throw my phone out the window. Thank you. Mad now.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Just email it to me.
Okay. But yeah. Yeah. And because I wrote all that in that story, I'm like, I just need to change this fan fiction, change the characters. And I'd have a pretty amazing fantasy romance, working a little bit more lineage, change the elemental magic. Like,
You just need to alter the elemental magic because like 90% of fantasy stories now have elemental magic, so it's not gonna be like a huge thing.
mhm.
Just because, oh look, they can use fire, they can use water. Yeah, that's how you can even make it so like they get it doesn't even have to be like, oh, maybe it's one of those things where like they get selected when they're teenagers to have an element
Listen,
attached to them.
already written it. Already written it. Already written it. Already written it, bitch. Already written it. It's like I'm staring at the binder right now that has it written in it. I've been writing a story since high school where people they have to get they show elemental powers, which is why when Avatar Last Airbender came out, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
shit, I wrote this novel, except like the powers concept, but people can have more than one power, but if you have more than one power, you're weaker. Like if you have like air and earth, you're not as strong as someone who just has earth. But then there's someone who has all four powers and a fifth unknown one, which is spirit, right?
You
And
seriously, you
so
have a world. Just shove them in that world as the novel,
I have a
and
world. I
oh
have
my
a world.
god, I want to read this. I want to read your work. I
My
will I
problem with this
I will, like, send me the information. I will draw shit for you. I will send you
okay.
illustrations you can put in the book. Just don't
All
ask me for
right.
anything specific. Just give me the
I won't.
information and I
I
will
won't. I know
create
that's the
for you.
quickest way for it to not happen. Okay, like after I finish this book, I'm gonna start because it's all on the book itself. The all the writing and typing I did is on a floppy disk.
Friend, we are gonna make a light novel, okay? And it is gonna be published. That is what's gonna happen. So, the difference between a light novel and a regular novel is the light novel has illustrations, so it's not like a full
Mhm.
manga, but it has, like, illustrations inserted, and it's not as, like, gonna be dense as, like, a full novel. We could do it episodically. Oh my god. You could even put it
We
on, like you could
can.
put it on, like, Tapas or, like,
We
Webtoons as a
bitch.
novel.
We.
Yes, and I'll provide you with, like, cover illustrations and illustrations for the characters, so you
Oh
can be
my
like,
god.
"Here's my characters." Oh my god, we're gonna do this.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be
It is
awesome.
on the internet. We are committed now.
We are committed. We're gonna hopefully start it in December after I
Yes.
get my book in. Yeah. Okay,
You
cool. Cool,
you're gonna
cool,
be
cool.
published in multiple genres, and because we can do the light novels as episodic, and because we can do light novels on things like Tapas and Webtoons, it doesn't need an official publication, we can just print a bunch, and then once we have an audience, then we do a Kickstarter for a physical book, and then you have another physical book under your name. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. We're putting the seeds out there for this.
We are throwing seeds on the ground, and I am going to pick them up and
Hmm.
eat them immediately.
Ooh, that was exciting.
That was exciting.
Yeah,
Ugh.
fan fiction, real fiction,
Real
fantasy. Oh
fiction,
my
real fiction inspired by fan fiction,
god. Hmm.
but real fiction
Hmm.
because
But this other one I've been writing since fucking I have like three fantasy novels. I've created three different worlds
the
with their own.
groundwork has happened. Seriously.
So yeah,
You think I'm kidding? I'm
yeah.
not. I'm not joking.
I don't.
And
I don't think.
I
I
keep
don't think you're
telling
kidding,
people
friend.
this. So, like, a lot of people don't realize one of the most famous series by Stephen King is the Dark Tower series. The
Mm-hmm.
first book that he published in, like, I wanna say, early 2000s, mid 2000s, something like that, was a
Mm-hmm.
book that he wrote when he was 18. That he was like,
Oh
"I still have
wow.
a story to tell. I'm gonna write the rest of these," and ended up writing, like, 9 or 7 or 9, like, full-on novels that they've made movies and TV shows out of. Like, and the original book is obviously not his style because he decided not to really rewrite it. He was just like, "Here's the book I wrote when I was 18." Um, and it's very clear that it was a book that he wrote when he was 18. But that created something bigger, and, like,
Mm-hmm.
I get kind of I tell people that every time they're like, "Yeah, but I wrote this, like, when I was in high school or, like, a long time ago, and I don't know if I should publish it now." I'm like, "Do it. Make this a story." Do you think those
Yeah.
people writing all of those, like, Zodiac Academy bullshit novels, do you think they care? No, and they're making money hand
No.
over fist. They don't care. There's an audience out there. There is an audience baked in for this genre, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 Well, one thing I do know, like when I was younger, my when I was in high school, my English teacher submitted some of my writings to journals and stuff like that without my knowledge. um, without my knowledge,
I
at all.
mean, that's kinda but
Yeah, it is. But she handed me a stack of rejection letters, when I graduated. And she said, "Here are the rejections you have so far. And I want you to know most of these rejections say that this work is plagiarized
What?
because they do not believe that someone your age was able to write something like this."
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanna read it
So
so
my
bad.
writing, huh?
I wanna read it so bad.
I'll see. You're right. I've never shared any of my fantasy,
No, you
like
haven't. You've
science
told
fiction with
me
you.
about it, but you haven't actually let me read it, and I want to read it.
Okay. All right. I have to type it back up. I'll probably do talk to text and type it in some kind of way, but I'll send you some samples of my work. I started writing fantasy and science fiction because I wanted to not be in the world that I'm in. Oh my
Mhm.
god, my science fiction. Look, I have a 5-book science fiction series in the world that I created.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's called Red X.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, the whole premise is like somebody attacked this other planet, and then they attacked Earth, and Earth and the other planet came together, and they both like defended and got rid of these assholes. And it's about like the reconstruction and the ends of the war. So it doesn't take place during the height of the war that happened. It takes place, the first book takes place um during the reconstruction period, and how even though these two groups of people, or two races, two species, came together to support each other, how they're now dealing with the relationship that they have between each other when it's not driven by trauma. So it's like the two species have trauma bonded, and now they're like, do we want to keep this relationship or not, and how that's affecting
That
their
sounds so
politics.
compelling. I you have books and what I'm hearing is you have books ready to go in multiple genres that have just been sitting there because you either forgot about them or you just didn't feel like you wanted to publish them. And it sounds to me like we need to get that out there because your storytelling is amazing.
I need help figuring out how these stories are supposed to go and how they're supposed to end. Like,
So I will say I'm not good at plot, but I'm amazing at characters. So if you introduce
mm-hmm.
me to your characters, I can help you figure out what they would want to do.
Okay, cool. We'll collab on this because I seriously have multiple and I'm still like and that Red X one
Mhm,
has like prequels and sequels and all this other stuff. Like even spin-off characters. There's this one that takes place on a ship. Like the ship is the colony, and there's people like at the top and people at the bottom. It's a whole metropolis situation.
mhm,
There's one where the land was so destroyed that people were under the earth for a while, and like it's them discovering, oh, we can come to the surface now, like, and why people were being led to stay down there. It was just there was a whole thing that happened. But there's multiple books, and yeah, there's multiple stories. And I reached a certain point and I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Um and I'm embarrassed about a few of them because when you're writing as a teenager, and we talked about this once before,
mhm.
where like there's some tropes in shows that we saw as kids that we thought were okay, and they were like
Yeah,
totally non-consensual fucked up situations with
yeah.
older men that should have never happened. So there's a few instances of that I'm gonna have to write out.
That's the thing though, like, I don't think you should feel embarrassed for that because you grew. I think you should take the work that you had, evolve it
Mm-hmm.
into a work that you would produce now. But
Mm.
basically consider it a skeleton to a full animal that is going to be wonderful and beautiful. But you have the bones. The bones are there of a story with a world, and like the foundation has been laid. You just need to put the
Mhm.
roof tiles on. You know what I mean?
I know what you
So
mean.
doing basic edits is like and changing the way certain parts of the story go. You can even change the age of the characters so it's a more appropriate relationship, if that's something you want to do, or like edit that part out
That
entirely.
that is something I want to do. That is something I want to do. That is something most definitely want to do. Got to change the story up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But like you got the bones of a full-on story here, and I'm into like I will always encourage that because I want to see what you write. I want to read the words that you write because you're
I'm gonna
wonderful.
send you a sample. I'm gonna send you a sample of something that I've written, and it might not be super long, but it'll be something. Because yeah, you've never read that my style of writing in that way. It's always
No,
been
but I've
um
had you tell me stories and I love it.
mhm.
So,
Okay.
but let's get this book edited first, right?
Yes. Let's get
What
this book edited.
Once this one's
Oh,
fully done, then we can concentrate on the the light novels that we're going to do.
yes. Yes.
But I'll remember. I am Pepperidge Farm in this case. I will remember. The instant you tell me, "Yay, I got my book out to the publisher," I'm be like, "Okay, what's the next book? Which one you wanna start with, the sci-fi or the fantasy
Which one? Which one?
or the urban fantasy? Which
Oh,
one?"
oh my God. Which
Because I know
one?
you got all 3.
Ah, I do.
I know.
I do. And I also have a romance one too. A queer
Fantastic.
romance. Mhm.
Even better.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know we stand queer romance in this house, on this
Yes.
podcast.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 That gives me something very to look forward to
Mhm,
artistically, and because I thought seriously, I thought after this book that's the only book I have in me, even though Bertha's like no.
no.
And so this is going to be great. Having the job as artistic director will give me more time to write,
Mhm,
and I really do think that I feel like the book I'm writing now is the hardest book I'll ever write. Um and I might be saying this like a year from now, being like, this is the hardest book I've this is the hardest book I've ever written. I don't know what I was talking about before. But this book feels really hard because it is breaking down the mammy stereotype, and looking at the ways in which I've internalized mammy and all this other stuff. So
Mhm.
it's just fucking exhausting.
Well, I think it's because it's so soul searching and it's very personal, the way that you're writing
Yeah.
this book. And writing fiction is different because it's not necessarily fluffy, but the stories that reside in you are different than the stories that are you, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
the fiction stuff are the stories that reside in you and the characters that live inside your head, while doing the nonfiction stuff is literally you. It's you and putting you on paper. So I can imagine that that would be emotionally more difficult, just because it's very exposing of your soul versus just
Mm-hmm.
exposing the characters that you've crafted to um, even when it's like self-insert characters, it's still characters that you've crafted carefully.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna send you something. We'll see.
I am
We'll
looking
see if you
forward
find
to
it
it.
inspiring.
I will. I guarantee you I will. I am on some juice. I'm not even gonna lie. I have been obsessively drawing shit like it is my job, and I
Mhm.
cannot stop. Like, all I'm thinking about is how I'm gonna do these paintings. Like, I've been thinking about it nonstop all day. Like, I'm gonna use that marker first, and I'm gonna come in with this paint. I'm gonna wait for those detail brushes to come in on Monday to do that detail part, but I can start on this
Mhm.
part first. Like, literally all day, that's what's been going through
I'm
my
so
head.
glad. I'm so glad because I remember when you first started talking about how like the art was missing in your life and how you
Mhm.
wanted to get back to your art and to now see you. And it didn't take that long, Carta. Like it didn't take once you said you thought about it and then you said you were gonna do it and then you started doing it.
Yeah.
And look at where you are now. And I find that so fucking inspiring. That you were able to find your joy in it again. And I'm kind of like think that doing this process with my fantasy and urban fantasy and science fiction and romance books will bring that joy back to me too, because right now the writing has been so tied to
Mhm.
catharsis and that dreaming into something that I haven't seen before.
Mhm.
That's been rough. Like it's been channeling and manifesting writing, basically like that kind of heavy spiritual work. So I found it to be more work than a loving process. It's hard loving. It's a tough loving process. But
Yeah.
watching you go through your process is giving me so much hope that I'm going to reach that space again where I'm like super excited about writing instead of sitting down and being like, what do I have to break within myself to grow as I
Yeah.
write new things on the page? Like every piece has been, what is going to break inside of me in order for something new to grow through it?
And I will say, like, the while you've seen a lot of the stuff I've been making, it hasn't been all rainbows and puppies because,
Mhm.
like, I have made stuff that I hate, but I've made sure to finish it because
Mhm.
it's practice.
Mhm.
Even if I
Mhm.
don't like what I'm making, it's still practice, and I can redo it later and remake it later and not hate it
Mhm.
later. Um, and that's been really helpful in terms of I've been a little gentle with myself in that I know that it's not a complete process because I keep evolving the style and the way that I've been creating these characters because
Mhm.
I'm not fully happy with the way that I'm doing them yet. And I'm happy with
Mm.
certain parts, I'm like, "I like the structure here." Like, I like the way I made the nose, I like the way that these hooks work, I like the horns, that kind of thing, and I like the hair, but I don't like the way I'm drawing it. So, like, I see something in my head, and it's making sure that, like, I'm practicing a wide variety of things so that I can eventually put what's in my head onto paper. Um,
Mhm.
because what's in my head and what lives there is different and it's constantly evolving. And also I'm resurrecting from the dead too, because these characters that
Mm.
I a lot of the characters that I'm working on were old D&D characters from college
Mm.
that I've put in a modern setting and then added additional characters, and I actually like the additional characters more than the characters that I resurrected.
Mm.
But if I hadn't resurrected those characters, I wouldn't have created the new characters to go along with them, and I wouldn't currently be
Oh,
obsessed with those
yeah.
characters. So, like,
Mhm.
going and digging into your past is not it's not a bad thing to do, and using that and evolving off of it is like what I've been doing with this creative process, and I'm gonna dig back into those characters because I do still love them. It's just because I had an idea of them and their personalities, it wasn't as much fun to play with. So I've had to
Mhm.
think about, what am I going to give up? What am I going to change about the characters that are already established to allow me to love them more, essentially, to allow me to feel like I can create on them and change them from what they were before into what they are now, because the write-ups that I did for them indicated their old personalities a little bit, but added nuance to it, of the new feelings that I have for them, and I need to expound on that, but, like, I kind of latched onto a few of the new characters because they were blank slates that I could just fill in from
Mm,
fill the cup
mhm.
completely with the new ideas, as opposed to filling up half with new ideas and half with an established idea. So,
Yeah.
um but yeah, no, like, I used to be obsessed with these characters, and I need to reignite that within myself, because the reason why I keep drawing the same one over and over again is because I'm obsessed with him, and I need to allow that obsession to leak out into the other characters a little bit. Just a little bit, a
Mhm.
scooch, just a
Just a
scooch.
tad.
Just a
Just a
tad.
touch. Pinch.
Just to, allow the focus to veer around a little bit. It's gonna be good.
Mhm.
But, like, that's kind of where I am with that, and I've been doing fan art of anime to train my brain to look at posing and composition differently, because
Mhm.
anime is really good with posing and composition, and I've done the best with the Demon Slayer characters because for some reason my style just works with them pretty well. So,
Mhm.
um, because like when I tried to do the ones for Samurai Champloo, I feel like I didn't capture them that well. Um, but I'll keep trying.
I saw that picture you did, and I
Yeah.
totally think that you have, like, being 100 with you, Mugen was, like, totally captured, and so was Jin.
Mhm.
Fu was hella cute, but there was something like I'm like, just a little
There was
bit.
something off with her, right?
There's something just a little bit, but you weren't like it was like they're sisters. It's like you got her sister.
Okay, I can see. I
But it
think I
wasn't
I
like
think
you
I
got
made
her
her
like third
too
cousin or some shit.
I think I made her too old
Mm.
in the picture. I think it she doesn't read as young enough, uh,
Mhm.
because she's 15 in the show. But
Mhm.
if you compare that piece to the Muichiro or the Zenitsu that I made for you, it's like night
Mhm.
and day. They're completely
Oh my
different. Do you know what
god,
I mean?
this Zanutsu you made for me. Oh my god. It is so cool. Um and Mitsu was like totally spot on. So
Yeah.
like yeah, I can see. But I really like I feel like you got Mugen and Jin like you like to say that you
I think
didn't
I
get
got
them
their
as well.
faces really well. Like, I got their faces
I think you
100%.
got their postures too.
Mm. I'll believe you
Might not feel that way to
because
you, but it felt like you got their postures too. Especially Mugen. Like Mugen was like spot the fuck on. Like you got him 100% of the way.
Okay, I feel a little better about it. But yeah,
And I'm not just
um,
saying that to say that to you.
but, like, even I've
Oh, we
drawn a
talked
couple
about it.
of yeah, oh, go ahead.
Mhm. No, just saying, oh, we're talking about our creative processes now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
have to
are a
throw
little
that in
bit.
the title for the episode.
Yeah, because like, I've been drawing some of the Jujutsu Kaisen characters too, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna just be honest, doing fan art is a struggle. It's a struggle because, like, even going off of a picture and drawing off of a picture, I'm, like, fighting for my life, which is completely different from how I feel when I'm drawing my characters, because they're my characters, I know exactly what they look like in my head, but, like, looking from a picture and trying to make that picture again
Mhm.
I'm, like, sweating bullets trying to get this done because it has to be accurate to the picture I'm looking at. It's extremely difficult because 'cause I'm not gonna do tracing. I do it freehand by looking at the picture and, trying to make it
Mhm.
similar enough that it reads correctly. And
Mhm.
I've been able to do it. I've been able to do it where it reads like the one I did last night. Oh my god, it's so good. I can't wait to show you. Um,
Mm.
yeah, but the one I did the night before was uh, a little off, but it's passable. And by passable, I mean, like,
Mhm.
you know who it is, you know what they look like. Kinda like I sent you that sketch of, that I did of Nanami, right?
Mhm.
I'm not 100% on that one, but it's passable, like, you know who it is.
And it was Tsunami. Nanami.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, so but I'm excited, like, I'm getting excited about being able to make things again, and that's a
Mhm.
plus, that's a plus, being excited about creating, loving
It
creating.
is.
Yeah, I'm I'm happy about it a lot, actually.
Yay!
Yay.
By our powers combined. Yeah, we're gonna create something together that's gonna be brilliant. I mean, we're creating this podcast together, so, like, we're gonna create more stuff together.
Yeah, why not?
Mhm.
We will just have our hands in all the pots, it'll be fine.
All of them! Mm. Oh my gosh. Yay! I love hearing about your creative process and what you're doing creatively.
Yeah. I don't like, I realize that I don't send my process to people usually.
Mhm.
I have been doing it more, but, like, I'm literally spamming Zach in the middle of the night. Like 2 in the morning, my time, I'm like, "I made this. Look at it, bitch." And he's like, "Wow, this is great. Thanks for sharing." And I'm just like, "Yeah, it's gonna be this, this, and that." And, like, I realized he's the only one I spam with that, but, like, I do have a lot of process pics that I could share, and I just don't not because I
Mhm.
want people to see the finals only.
Mhm.
I'm very particular about that, but, maybe I'll just start sending all my process stuff to you too, so you can see it.
Send it to me. Send it to me. And I think when I say process, I mean like how you're thinking, what you're going through, not
Mhm.
just your progress, like not just the progress photos. But I like hearing like how, like you're like, I didn't capture this or I didn't capture that, or I want to do this differently, or this is what I've learned about myself through this art, or like I'm resurrecting old characters and that's helped me lean into my new ones. Like I love hearing about that too.
Okay.
So all that like behind the scenes, like thoughts that are going on in your head, all that shit is part of your creative process. Um, and even the staying up late at night and the like, I draw with Ron and like we'll have the opportunity to work together, like while you draw and I'll write.
Mhm.
And I might
Like,
send you
parallel
something
play is so
occasionally, be like,
helpful. It really
mm-hmm,
is. Like, just having somebody on the line with you helps you concentrate. I don't know why, it just
mm-hmm,
does. Because 'Cause you're like,
mm-hmm,
if you have anything that you wanna talk about, like, I remember talking to Ron about it last night, like, halfway through, I'm just like, "God, this is so hard."
mm-hmm.
I'm really struggling. I've erased like 18 times for this one part, and I'm gonna just and he's like, "Can you just try a different spot for a bit?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a good idea." So, like, I ended up starting with, like, the hands instead of, like, doing, like, the full thing, and oh my god, I got the hands so fucking good. I cannot wait to share it.
Good.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, like, I started in a different spot and, like, moved around, and it made it a little bit easier, but, like, I wouldn't have been able to talk through that on my own because I needed to talk out loud about it, and I think that that's something with, like, when you're creating, being able to just, like, bounce ideas all of a sudden and just, like, being able to concentrate
Yes.
and, like, really dig into stuff is so important, and
Yeah.
just, like, having somebody on the phone while you're doing that is super easy and fun.
Mm-hmm.
But basically every night this week after 9, I'm pretty much or 9 my time, which is 6 your time, I'm free. So if you wanna
That's
hang
perfect for
out
me.
and just hang out, we can. Obviously Tuesday
That's
we're
perfect for
watching
me.
anime,
Yes.
and Thursday I watch a movie with my other friend, but, like, we could do, like, Monday, Wednesday, that kinda thing, and if you want, I'll see if Ron's down for the 3 of us hanging out, and we can do Discord on Friday.
That sounds wonderful. I don't want to intrude into y'all time.
No, 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 it's fine.
Um,
But
okay.
it'll be fine. I'll just let him know that we're gonna do it on
Okay,
Discord
so like
instead.
I'll just let them know what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah,
so chill,
so no, this is the
and
thing.
he
This
knows
is the
how I am
thing.
as a person, which is, like,
Mhm.
basically what we do is we just talk about the music that we're listening to at the time. He tells me about, because
Mhm.
he has a thing that he writes on Co-Host now, where he just does
Mhm.
what's good for this week and, like, drops a bunch of links to music, and you can go to the music and listen to it, and that's it.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's super chill. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link because I have it.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, I think that'll be fine. Yeah, we'll dig in this week, really get stuff done. I think that'll be cool.
Awesome. That's exciting for me because I have like 110 applications to go through, and I have homework for the play, and I have the book. So like I would love to have company and music while I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah,
We could
let's
bounce
do
off
it.
each other.
We'll see how this week goes, but I can definitely see us doing this on the regular basis.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I think I think that's it. Are we I think that's
I think
it.
we're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to leave anyone with from
I
this episode?
do. So the thing that we were talking about earlier, I want people to remember that basically just because you're part of a marginalized group does not mean that group is excluded from bigotry. Because if you are, LGBTQ, there's still transphobia, racism, you know, ableism in that community.
Mhm.
Just because you're part of the pagan community, there is racism, homophobia, transphobia in that community as well. So
Mhm.
just pay attention to who you're talking to and protect yourself. To just because um, someone is part of a marginalized group and is with you in a marginalized group does not mean that they are necessarily safe. So it's
Mhm.
always just good to keep an eye on your surroundings so that you're not emotionally hurt when, it turns out they're not safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say my takeaway from this is actually the conversation you started, which was if you're a creative person, go through your archives. Go through your archives and send code for that shit. Like, see what you could bring forward into your present and appreciate where you were at when you created these things. And don't like just toss away your creative works when there can be something beautiful and more there. Like, the conversation that we have has really inspired me to go back and look at all these things and really be appreciative for the art that I have created in the past. So I would encourage people who are creatives to look back through their archives and to become inspired by themselves.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway. Always keep creating. And
Keep
yeah,
creating.
keep creating. The past is a
All
treasure
right.
trove of fun for you.
It is. It really, really is. It really, really is. All right, y'all. It's been beautiful connecting, and we will see y'all next time, or y'all will hear us next time. Um, but thank you for joining us. And if there's ever a topic like you think, oh, this would be good to cover, like send us a note on the YouTube, send us a note or something.
Yeah, on the
Our
email.
email, yeah. I think I think I even know what the email is. Let me.
Can we
What is the
reiterate it?
email? What's the fucking email? Do you know our email?
I feel like it's
Both
witch
of us are
shit
like, what's our
podcast.
email?
It's witch shit
I think
podcast at
it's with shit
Gmail.
podcast too. I'm gonna send myself an email just to make sure that that's what it is, because Lord knows I be forgetting. I'm checking right now. Inbox. yes, send us a email to which shit podcast. That's which shit podcast. And we'll respond and just be like, oh, I'm interested to hear about this, I'm interested to hear about that. And if we have any knowledge of it, we can talk about it and incorporate it, or any questions that y'all may have for us.
Yeah.
So that way it could go both ways. We could be having a conversation with you too.
Or, like,
Um
if you guys want us to watch something, be like,
and
"Hey,
review
watch this
it.
show and talk about it," and we will because that's how we roll. We will do that for
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. We shall. Well, it's been wonderful. I hope y'all all have an amazing rest of the week. And that you find ways to incorporate rest and ease and creativity in your time. And yeah, anything else you want to say, Carta?
No, I'm very happy.
Oh, that makes me happy. We will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Catch you on the flippy floppy. Bye.